All
Yep,
right.
I can hear you.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear
Oh,
me okay?
yes, I can hear you very clearly.
Excellent.
All right.
Yes, sorry about that confusion. Welcome to the Global Skype Partners. This session is for you to ask any questions that you have about the program, ask for any aspects, and yeah, just let me know how I can help you.
Okay. My question is not much because you sent out some guides, some videos from the past events on how to assign account to your participants. So I have been going through them and they are quite clear to me. But one question I have is about the filters used in the telescope. I want to know because assuming that I'm teaching people how to use it for astrophotography, I want to know which of them is blue, green, and red. I think there are
Yep.
Bessel, Bessel V, Bessel B, and Pan Star. So I don't know which of them is color like in terms of color. So I want to know.
Yeah, no problem. The vessel B is blue, vessel V is green. Now the red one is slightly more awkward because the it's SDSS-R or R prime,
Okay.
and that's not quite red. It overlaps with the visible, so it's like it goes into the green part.
Okay.
But we do have narrowband filters on our 40 on our new 40 centimeters. So where as you'll have seen in the video, we're deploying new telescopes called Delta Row telescopes,
Okay.
and they're going to gradually replace all of the 40 centimeters, and they have narrowbands. So they have H alpha O3 and silicon 2, and uh, those are don't correspond to red and blue either, but they are narrowbands. The O3 is green, the H alpha is in red, but the silicon 2 is not quite. It's actually towards the infrared, if my memory serves. I'll just have to look that up actually. Um, Yeah, silicon 2 is further into the red end of the spectrum than H alpha is.
Okay.
So O3, H alpha, and silicon 2. Yeah,
Okay.
those are on the Delta Row telescopes.
Okay. Another question I have is on the is it the calculator? I've forgotten the name. Like if you want to know the exposure time for your observation, there's a
Yeah,
calculator attached by the side. When I was looking at Michael's video, I saw a part where he just used roughly 12 minutes and later realized that the 12 minutes caused the pixels to be oversaturated beyond the value. So he did some calculations. It took a lot of time. He did some calculations and decided to use 3 seconds, 2 seconds in, I mean, just random time, but less than 5 seconds, so that he can
yeah.
get the value that he wants. So I was now thinking, why did he have to do that if there is a calculator beside that website where you can just calculate the amount of exposure time that you need so that you don't have to do those kind of rough estimates. So what do you think about that?
Uh, yeah, so the exposure time calculator is um, it's very useful, but it's also it will give you a the value it gives you will sometimes not be appropriate. If you've got something which has like the brightness of a galaxy, you can expose a galaxy longer because there aren't point sources in it. Um,
Okay.
or rather, all the stars you see the whole light of the galaxy rather than the individual stars. The exposure time calculator is very good for when you're looking at stars' brightnesses,
Okay.
because those will overexpose more quickly than something that's spread out like a galaxy.
Okay.
But as well as the exposure time calculator, we also have a graph that you can use. Hopefully, you can see this on your phone.
No,
This
I'm
is
using
in
my
the
system right now. Okay.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this graph, hopefully, you can see. This uh, gives you a very easy way to read off. So
Where can
along the
I
bottom
get
is the
it? Where can
magnitude.
I get it?
I'll send it to you in the chat.
Okay.
It's So I sent you a list of. Uh, in fact, I'll share my screen again and show you where you can find it. So it's on this page, which is exposure time estimating.
Okay.
Which is education observing. So we have the observing support pages here, which has it has a screencast of using the portal, and it has information about using the observation portal there. But down here on
Okay.
exposure time,
Exposure time.
you can find that. But there's also useful information about how you find out the visibility of your target. If you have a problem with your image, you can scroll through this page, or you can answer some questions at the top, and it'll then take you to a part that will show you why there's potentially a problem with your image. So this is quite a useful page for you. So yeah, I will send you that in the chat,
Okay.
and you can find the exposure time graph there.
Okay. Another one I have is the total. I don't know what they call it. The duration. The duration. It is towards the left top of the when you are scheduling for your mission. So it is different from your exposure time. So why is that possible? Why?
Um, Let me see if I understand. So
Yes. No, you have passed it.
we're talking.
Up. This one. Duration of observation request. So it is
Can't
different
see my
from
duration.
the exposure time.
Where am I? Where am I looking? Duration.
No, it is up. It is towards the how will I call it? My
Oh, I see.
yeah.
Oh no, this so this is calculated, and it will be the sum of all of the exposure times multiplied by the exposure count, um, and it will add an overhead. So the overhead is because it takes a certain amount of seconds for the camera to read out the image each time. So if I did um, an exposure time of 20 seconds, I've got to actually give it a target. So you'll see this is 2 minutes and 20
2 minutes.
seconds because,
And
yeah,
this is deducted from your telescope time, right?
yeah, that's right, yeah.
Wow, that's so much.
Yeah, but that's so if I were to do 4 of these now.
And that is why it is important to use the calculator so that you don't waste all the time, you know, trying and maybe like for instance, if you put 120 minutes now, I'm very sure that it will deduct up to 60
Yeah, so
minutes. So
if I'm so it's So I've just added. I've changed the exposure time from to 2 minutes, and the exposure time doesn't go up. It's 2 minutes plus 2 minutes. So the 2 minutes is the overhead on that observation.
Okay,
So
okay,
it doesn't increase any more than that. So if I made this like 10 minutes, see, it just stays at 10 minutes plus 2 minutes for that
okay,
observation.
okay,
So it's the amount of time it takes to change the filter, move the telescope, and read out the image. But this is an estimate. So if you use less time than this, you'll be charged less time.
okay. So my last question is, there is something I have in my mind. I would like to tell my audience about, for those that are interested in using the telescope for capturing nebulae and galaxies for image processing. I want to tell them they should use a higher um, exposure time to capture more photons. But if you are doing research, you don't need a lot of exposure. Maybe you should use a calculator. So is that right?
So you want to get a good signal to noise ratio. So for research, you want to make sure that your target is exposed for long enough that it's not there's not lots of noise in the picture, but also you don't want to do it for too long so that it's in danger of being overexposed. So
Okay.
it's really there's if you think of it like a graph, you want and there's the top of the graph, and if you hit that, you get an overexposure.
Yeah.
Sort of, you want to be somewhere between halfway and the top with your exposure time,
Okay.
and that'll depend on the source, whether you've got stars that are really bright in the frame, or whether you've got something that's just a nebula, which you can expose for longer. You can always um, add images on top of each other, as I'm sure
Okay.
you've done because you've got lots of experience in astrophotography. But if you do that for a research project, the noise adds more noise than if you just do a single exposure.
Okay. All right. So, if I have more questions, I will ask you, but for now, I don't. But what I want now is to get to Michael. You know, he says that the time I send him message is usually the time he leaves office. That's why I don't usually reach him. So maybe today I will check how many hours Australia is ahead of Nigeria. Then maybe I'll message him. Maybe he will respond so that we can have the meeting. I'm also trying to connect to other partners. I have replied to that email you tagged me. I've replied it, but I have not, you know, gotten any reply from any of the partners. I've also read some papers from the LCO website, and I love those papers. They are just very simple, you know, research, and exactly what I want about just astrometry. This is just very simple and concise, and this is the kind of thing I would like to spread among my audience. So I
So are you
contacted
thinking? Oh yes, sorry. Go ahead.
okay, I contacted some of those students to connect me to their supervisors. Two of them responded and have sent emails to the supervisors. I'm yet to get their reply. So I'm still looking for any person that will be willing to guide me through this process in the research. I'm very okay with astrophotography, but the research is what I need a guidance so that I
And
can
so
guide others.
yeah, the group that I connected you with on email, I think they would be a good group because the projects that they run are research projects, and they normally do them with high school students. So I'll send a follow-up email just so that they understand that that's the aspect that you're interested in.
Okay.
Um, because at the moment, I think they might be looking for some direct question from you, maybe, or otherwise, yeah, I don't know why they haven't responded, but I'll send them a reminder email to see if they've got anything that
I would so much appreciate
they can
it.
share with.
I would so much appreciate it because right now we are on break, and I would like to use. Last week was break. This week is another break, and I would like to use it to do something very serious about this research. And I want to know how many months do I have with these 100 hours of telescope time? How many months?
You've got 12 months. You've got
Oh,
12 months to use them. Yeah.
wow. I was thinking it's 6 months because I was
Yeah,
no problem.
so the education program is 12 months. The science programs are 6 months, but the education is 12. Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, I still have a lot of time. I will, in fact, I don't think the time will be enough, but I will manage it. I will manage it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you ever run out of time, I do have some time that I can give to partners if you're running low. And I say this to all of the partners that our aim is to help you do really good education programs.
Okay.
So if you find that you did an experiment and you used up more time than you expected, and but you're still doing really good things, then we're always happy to give you some more time.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate for everything. And
Yeah, no problem.
yeah, thank you. I don't have any
Okay,
other
cool.
question.
All right.
All right.
All right. And yeah, anytime you've got and if you think of something, please let me know. Where I'm here to help you. So
All right.
if there's anything that I can do, please let me know.
All right. All right. I will. I will. All right. Take care.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.